Hello everybody, I'm OCDisaster, and this is OCDisaster Blue, my Sonic exclusive channel. That's right, everything on this channel is Sonic related, whether it's Let's Plays and walkthroughs, or movie reviews, trailer reviews, you name it, we got it. If that sounds like your speed, then be sure to check out some other videos after this one, and consider subscribing. It's absolutely free, and you can change your mind at any time. In this video, we're going to be looking at Sonic X Shadow Generations once again. It's the most recent game, but I figured we'd do something kind of cool this time. Well, I think it's cool. You might think it's boring, but if you clicked on the video, I think you kind of want to see it too, right? That's how that works, is the menus. The menus for Sonic Generations. Now, in the first Sonic Generations, the one that came out over a decade ago, I really liked the design of the menus. I like the shapes, I like the colors, and it seems like they kept that theme within both Sonic Generations and Shadow Generations, while also tweaking and updating it a little bit. As you see, when we start the game, we get a menu for Sonic Generations and Shadow Generations. Sonic Generations has these rigid triangular lines, I guess you would call it, and then it has these shapes, these circles, these, action looking shapes like the POW, the Bob, I can't remember what to call those, but it's like multiple edge stars, and it's white contrasting with the green of Green Hill Zone. And it looks very reminiscent of the first game. We move over to the Shadow Generations, and it's flipped. Whereas in Sonic Generations, you have these textures, and even though it's white on white, you kind of like get a popping sort of visual, a three-dimensional sort of thing going on. With Shadow, it's contrasted with just silhouettes and darkness. You still have some circular things, as you can see in the corners, but they are just shrouded in black with these little tints of red just splattered there on the page. It looks great, it looks dark, it looks edgy in contrast to this. Now, if we go into Sonic Generations first, it'll load up this screen right here, and once again you have a moving background now with a bunch more shapes, and it just makes it more dynamic. But once again, it's that white background with the splash of color for the logo with Sonic and Classic Sonic. This is very traditional to the original game, and I just love it. And I love that it's animated and you got these springs popping out. I think it's great. Here we are, it takes us into a cutscene, but we're not doing that right now. We're not reviewing that. You hit this and it does, look at that, it's a color. You have these stars next to the press any button, and then these colorful shapes pop out to just kind of contrast with what you're doing. And I just think it's fantastic. So we're gonna hit continue here. And now we have this menu, which is juxtaposed to an all white background. You have the shapes still, we're still keeping the same sort of shapes, but now they're colored with some black and white in there as well. A blue border still with that rugged like triangle like border, and it's also graded, so it's not just blue, it's a light blue into a darker blue, which I really like for these save files. Also, come on, save files, God bless you, Sega and Sonic team, you deliver. That was my biggest gripe with Sonic Generations, the original one, was there's no save file. If you wanted to do another game, you had to completely start over. While we're in the collection room, you can see, because we're in the white space, I think they wanted to contrast that now with these shapes, this blue for the border of collection room. I really like that, because if it was white, it would look kind of weird in comparison, and it just wouldn't pop as much when you're actually moving around in this three-dimensional space. Now, yes, we are side-scrolling, but it's still technically three-dimensional. When I hit pause, you get this cloud that hovers, it goes up and down. You still have these stars here, and it just encapsulates all of what we've been talking about. You have the gradient blue splash in the far back, then you go black and white, you got some red to really like pop and just bring the things out, give it some dimension. Then you have a plain white cloud in the front with some blue and yellow in there as well, iconic Sonic colors. And then you have the stars, and I didn't talk about this, but the font, you have yellow and blue, which works really well. So we're going to exit now out of Sonic Generations and check out Shadow Generations. I'm going to go back out. The load screens are also just completely black, and then with Sonic Generations, it was a white silhouette of Sonic and Classic Sonic running with some little puffs of smoke running behind them, which was really cute and really nice. Alright, so now we're going to check out Shadows. As you can see, the Shadow logo pops up here and there, which is great. It opens up a little bit more for the screen when we go here. It's still very contrast to the Sonic Generations. You had the black with the little tiny bits of dark red in there. Very, very sleek. We're going to go ahead and look here. The font is white and red, but it's like a dark red. It's not like a piercing red, right? We're going to hit continue. Look at this. Instead of having like a more shaped and more aggressive border around the save file, it's actually very timid on the outside. Inside you have these shapes that are white, and they still kind of like give that element with the darkness, but most of it is inside the border, not outside of the border, which I think is nice. There is in like corner some little shapes here and there, but that's about it. As you're choosing your file, you have the shadow logo, the red borders, but we're still sticking to this yellow text, which I think is nice. All right, now we're gonna hit pause, and as you can see, we have this dynamic screen to the left of the map. Because this is actually a, you know, full 360 rotation 3D map, differing from the Sonic Generations one, we have a little bit more to play around with. You have a very vibrant and colorful shape-heavy pause menu up here. It's a lot of shapes, still similar to that of Sonic Generations, but it's darker colors, dark red, light red. We still got blue and yellow in there to keep with the theming. The text on the side is white and black, but then when you go over it, it's got that light yellow to it, and it's just solid black background with some squiggles that are red and these, you know, white outlined shapes, which are very cool. But then look at when you're moving around on these, you know, words, you have a dynamic, flowing, like red bar with a spinning spike and a moving border, and these like small little crystallized red textures that decay. It's very, very cool. I'm really, really impressed with the menu here. We looked at Sonic's collection room, so let's go ahead and move to Shadow's collection room, which, because it's in a 3D space, it's going to be a little bit different. So maybe that's not the best example, but as you see, these dialogue boxes are similar to when you're starting up the game. We can go to options. It's the same design, but it's all very consistent. And as you see, as I'm switching up between display settings, sound control settings, it's a moving border, and I just really like that touch. The cursor to scroll down is a star on the right hand side, and look, when you're moving, it's got the shadow logo to the left of the word and to the right. To contrast against this black dark background, you have dynamic red shapes that move, that live, that breathe. It's so nice to just look at this sometimes. I think we take for granted the menus and the UI and the art design that these, you know, artists do for these games. And look at that. The fade in, the black smoke fade in, black smoke fade out. It's beautiful. And I wanted to take some time to highlight this. I know it's not the most popular thing to talk about, but I just really, really like the menus for Sonic X Shadow Generations. It's an art in itself, and I think it deserves to be appreciated. I know I wasn't very articulate in what I was saying. I need to work on that. But what did you guys think? Did you like this video? Let me know down in the comments, and let me know what you think of these menus for Sonic X Shadow Generations, and what Sonic game you think has the best menu system, the best UI, and the best art design for their menus. I'd love to take a look at some more of your recommendations. I'm OCDisaster, and I hope you have a super Sonic rest of your day. See ya.